Good evening, everybody. Today we will talk about how to find the main trigonometric ratios for some angles, or in other words, how to deal with the famous angles. The first question you should ask to me, what are the famous angles? Before we start, you should remember with me the famous triangle, which is called the 30-60 triangle. The 30-60 triangle is a right angle triangle which has an angle of measure 30 degree and the other one if I measure 60 degree. For example, if you see A, B, C as in the opposite figure. You know from the previous year, from what you studied before, that the side opposite to the angle whose measure 30 degree equals half the hypotenuse length. So if I say that this is the angle whose measured 30 degree, AB is its opposite side. So if I say that AB is L, therefore AC will be twice its length because the hypotenuse is double the length of the opposite side to the 30-degree angle. So how can we find BC? To find BC, you will make square root AC squared minus AB squared, which will be square root 2L to the power 2, which is 4L squared minus L squared, which is root 3L. So if I have a 30-60 triangle, it will be L opposite to the 30, adjacent to the 60, and the hypotenuse is 2L, so the adjacent side to the 30 degree will be L root 3. So as we see in this example, we can do it like this. From this triangle, we can help each other to find the main trigonometric ratios for the 30-degree angle and also the 60-degree angle. So how can we find it? As we studied in the last session, we know that the sine of any angle is the ratio between its opposite side and the length of hypotenuse. So if I would like to find the sine of the angle who is measured 30 degree, it will be like this. As you see, opposite over hypotenuse. So it will be L over 2L, or it will be half. To find its cosine angle 30, it will be adjacent over hypotenuse, so it will be root 3L over 2L, so it will be root 3 over 2. If you would like to find tan 30, it will be opposite over adjacent, so it will be L over L root 3 or 1 over root 3. Again, if you would like to apply these rules for the angle whose measure is 60 degree, how can we do it? Again, we said that sine 60 will be the opposite to the angle whose measure is 60 degrees, the opposite to the angle A, which is root 3. So sine 60 will be root 3 over hypotenuse, which is 2. Cosine 60 will be adjacent over hypotenuse, so it will be 1 over 2. And the last one is how to find tan 60, which is opposite over adjacent, so it will be root 3 over 1, which is root 3. For your info, put in your mind that 30 and 60 degrees are complementary angles. So as we said in the last session, that if I have two complementary angles, which means that their sum is 90 degree, so I can say that sine the first angle equals cosine the second angle, and cosine the first angle will be equal sine the first angle. So now we will move to find the main trigonometric ratios for another right angle triangle, which is the right isosceles triangle. As we know from the previous year that the right isosceles triangle is a triangle with a right angle and two equal sides, and moreover it has two equal angles. So the measure of each angle here is 45 degrees. As you know, 45, 45, it's an isosceles triangle, so if BC is called L centimeters, then AC also is L centimeters. So how can we get AB, which is the hypotenuse? I will make it by using Pythagoras, will be L squared plus L squared, which is square root 2L. So if you have here L, L, root 2L, 1, 1, root 2, from here I can deduce that sine the angle whose measure is 45 is equivalent to its cosine. That's what we said in the previous session, if you remember with me, that we said that sine 45 equals cosine 45. Why? Because the angle whose measure 45, it has the same length for its opposite and also for its adjacent. To make a summary for what we said in this session, we will make a simple table to find the sine, cosine, and tan for each of the famous angles. If you would like to find 30, sine 30 will be half, cosine 30 will be root 3 over 2, and tan 30 is 1 over root 3. Now let's move to 60 degree. Sine 60 equals root 3 over 2, which is equivalent to cosine 30. Cosine 60 equals half, which is equivalent to sine 30. And tan 60 equals to root 3. As you can see from here, we can write that tan any angle, which is, for example, 60, it will be sine 60 over cosine 60. As we said before, that the tan is not only the opposite over the adjacent, but also we can say that it's the ratio between the sine and the cosine of the same angle. Now let's move to the 45 angle. For sure that we have its sine equals to its cosine, which is 1 over root 2, 1 over root 2, and the last one is to find the tan 45 equals 1. Okay, let's solve some examples. For example, find the value. Sometimes he will say to you find the value, or he will say to you simplify or find in the simplest form. All of these have the same word, but take care of these questions. These kind of questions is very sneaky. When you look at the question, you will say, okay, I will write it on my calculator to find its final value, and here it is, I will get my full mark. No, take care of this. To find this value, you should simplify every single part alone, like this. As you know, sine 30 equals half, and cosine 60 also equals half, plus cosine squared 30. Don't do the operation of squaring on 30. No, this means that I need to find the value of cosine 30, then after finding this value I will making squaring for it, or I will put it to the power of 2. So cosine 30 is square root 3 over 2, and by applying the square root I will put it between brackets and raising it to the power of 2, plus 5 multiplied by tan 45. What is the value of tan 45? It's 1, minus 10 multiplied cosine squared 45. As we said before, don't say I will make the angle 45 raised to the power of 2. No, please find the value of cosine 45, then after finding this value, squaring the answer. Cosine 45 is 1 over root 2, so I will put it between brackets and raising it up to the power of 2. Let's move to the next step, which is simplifying each part separately. Half multiplied by half will be quarter. Square root 3 over 2, or raised to the power of 2, it will be 3 over 4. 5 multiplied by 1 will be 5, minus 10 multiplied 1 over root 2 to the power of 2 will be 5. So let's go deeper. 5 minus 5 will cancel each other, so I will have quarter plus 3 quarters, which will be equals 4 over 4, which is equals to 1. Is it clear? Is it clear that I should perform all these steps to find my final answer, not only writing this function or not only write this expression on the calculator? Let's move for another example. What if he asked me to prove that sine squared 60 plus sine squared 45 plus sine squared 30 equals cosine squared 30 plus 1 over 3 tan squared 60 minus cosine squared 60. How to find it? To find this value, or to prove that these two sides are equal, you should find the value of each and make sure that they are equal. First of all, I will start with my left hand side, so I will tell him that I am working now in the left hand side, LHS, which is sine squared 60. It will be, its meaning is to find the value of sine 60, then raising it to the power of 2. So sine 60 will be square root 3 over 2 by raising it to the power of 2 plus sine squared 45, which is 1 over root 2, applying square for it. So it will be 1 over root 2 raised to the power of 2 plus sine squared 30, which is half raised to the power of 2. Let's simplify. This will be 3 over 4 plus here will be 1 over 2 plus 1 over 4. If you calculate this value, you will find it 3 over 2. So I will highlight this part like this, and I will say to him, this is the point number 1. Now let's move to calculate the other side. The first side was my left hand side, so by logic my second side will be my right hand side. Let's calculate it as we did before. Cosine squared 30, so it will be root 3 over 2 raised to the power of 2 plus 1 over 3 multiplied by tan squared 60. Tan 60 equals root 3, and by putting power 2 on it, minus cosine squared 60, cosine 60 equals half, and putting power 2 on it. Let's calculate each one separately. Root 3 over 2 all to the power of 2, it will be 3 over 4 plus 1 over 3 multiply 3, it will be 1 minus quarter. If you calculate it, you will find it like 3 over 2, and we will highlight it to say to him, I can see this is part 2. At the end of your question, you can write it like this. From 1 and 2, we got that our left hand side equals to our right hand side. So take care, my friend. Again, I'm repeating with you. Don't put your problem on the calculator to find the final answer. You should perform and do your steps. You should calculate each one separately. Let's move to the next example. In this example, he is asking you to find the value of x. Find the value of this unknown. Find the value of this letter. I don't know what is the value of x. So, can you help me to find it? Okay, let's move. First one, x multiplied by sine 30, which is half, multiplied by cosine 45 raised to the power of 2, which is 1 over square root 2 raised to the power of 2, equals cosine squared 30. Cosine 30 equals root 3 over 2 and raised to the power of 2. Let's simplify for more simplifying. X multiplied half, it will be x over 4 equals 3 over 4. These 4, to cancel it, I should multiply all my question or all my problem by 4. So x will be equals 3 over 4 multiplied by 4, which is equals to 3. Let's move to the next part, which is the second one. 2 sine x equals tan squared 60. Tan 60 equals root 3 raised to the power of 2 minus 2 multiplied tan 45, which is equal 1. So 2 sine x will be equal root 3 power 2, which is 3, minus 2 by 1. So this means that 2 sine x will be equals 1. How to find sine x? I will divide both sides by 2 so that I can find that sine x equals 1 over 2. So he's not asking you about sine x, he's asking you about the value of x. So what is the value of x? What is the angle whose sine is half? I think, as we said before, that x equals 30 degrees. Why? Because we studied before that sine 30 equals 1 over 2 or equals to half. Let's move to the next part. And this part of our session is very important if you would like to be to act like an expert for these trigonometric ratios. Okay, let's do it again. Cosine 4x equals half. Don't do the famous mistake. Somebody will tell me, hey, take care, it's 4 multiplied by x, so I will divide by 4. No, take care of this. 4x is standing inside the cosine. So first of all, you should ask yourself, what is the angle whose cosine equal half? So I got that. Cosine 60 equal half. So you can recognize that cosine 60 equals cosine 4x. Then I can say that 4x equals 60 so that I can get that x equals 15. Again, in the second example, don't say tan x plus 10 equals root 3, so I will subtract 10 from both sides to find the value of x. No, x plus 10 is standing inside the 10. So before you can find or before you subtract 10 from both sides, you should at first find the angle whose tan equals root 3. I think the angle whose tan is root 3 is 60. So I'm telling you that tan x plus 10 equals to tan 60. So I can say that x plus 10 equals 60. By subtracting 10 from both sides, I got that x equals 50. Again, the last one, sine x equal half. Sine x equal half, then x equal 30 degree. But he is not asking me about x. He is asking me about sine 2x. When you are finding sine 2x, don't do like multiplying each side by 2. He is telling me sine 2x. No, it's a very big mistake. Sine 2x means sine 2 multiplied 30, which is equals sine 60. Sine 60 is root 3 over 2. Let's do more examples. Cosine x plus 15 equals half. Okay. First of all, before saying that I will subtract 15 from both sides, I should first find the angle whose cosine equal half. So I know that cosine 60 equal half. So in one step, I will write that x plus 15 equals to 60. So by subtracting 15 from both sides, I will get that x equals 45. But he's not asking you about the value of x, he's asking you about the value of sine 75 minus x. So it will be sine 75 minus 45, which is equals sine 30. What is the value of sine 30? It's equals to 1 over 2 or equals to half. Let's move to the next one. For cosine 60 sine 30 equal tan x. Before you do anything, you should simplify this. 4 multiplied by cosine 60, which is equals to half, multiplied by sine 30, which is equals to half. All of these equal tan x. Let's simplify our left hand side. 4 multiplied by half, which is equals to 1. What is the angle whose tan equals to 1? I think here x equals 45 degrees. Okay, let's move to the next one. Here he's asking you to simplify 2 cosine squared 30 minus 1. So it will be 2 multiplied by cosine 30 root 3 over 2 raised to the power of 2 minus 1, which is 2 times 3 over 4 minus 1, which is equals to half. So it's equals to half. Half, is it equal to sine 60? No. Is it equal to sine 60? No. Is it equal to 2 sine 30? No, but it's equals to cosine 60 degree. Let's move to another question. Tan x plus 15 equals 1. Don't subtract 15 from both sides. But before you do this operation, you should ask yourself, what is the angle whose tan is equals to 1? So x plus 15 equals 45. By subtracting 15 from both sides, you will find that x equals to 30 degree. The last one, cosine x and half in an ordered pair equals half and sine y. So what is the value of x and y? Without calculating, or before you calculate this, here in this example, he is asking you about that he has 2 equal ordered pairs. As we said in our algebra session, we said that If I have two equal ordered pairs, the first projection will be equal to the first projection and the second will be equals to the second. So cosine x will be equals half, and also sine y will be equals to half. Hey, take care, take care. I have two angles, which are x and y. Cosine the first equals to sine the second. Therefore, their sum equals 90 degrees. So these angles are complementary angles because, as we said before, that if I have two complementary angles, the sine of the first equal to the cosine of the second, and vice versa. Now let's move to the last part of our session. How to find the measure of an angle given in its trigonometric ratios or given one of its trigonometric ratios. If I give you in the question that sine A equals 0.8, so how can you find the angle whose measure is A? If I give you sine, you will put it on the calculator in this form, shift sine, shift, you will press on the key shift, then sine, and you will write 0.8. After pressing on these letters, don't forget to press this key to find it in the degree and the minutes and the second. And if the given is giving you cosine, so by the way and by logic, you will press shift to cosine. And if the given is tan, you will put it shift tan. Okay. Here, a very important example. He is telling me that ABCD is a rectangle in which AB equals 6 and AC equals 13. He is asking you to find 2 points. First, measure angle ACB, and the last one is to find the area of rectangle. Before we start, as you know before, that in the rectangle, all its angles are right angles. Therefore, measure of angle B equals 90 degrees. So, I can say that sine angle ACB, which is the required angle, will be opposite AB over AC, which is 6 over 13. To find this angle, you should, by the way, find what? You should find the angle. How to find the angle here? I pressed on my calculator shift sine 6 over 13, and after that I pressed on this key to find that measure of angle ACB equals 27 degrees, 29 minutes and 11 seconds. For the next part, you need to find BC. I have two ideas to find the length of BC. First one is by using Bythagoras. As you know, you can say that BC equals square root 13 power 2 minus 6 power 2. Or, in other words, you can say that cosine the angle, which is 27, 29, and 11 seconds equals adjacent, which is BC, over 13, which is hypotenuse. So if you would like to find BC, you can make it like cross multiplication. So BC will be 13 multiplied by cosine this angle. So to find the area, I know that the area of rectangle is length multiplied by width. So I will do 6 multiplied by 13 cosine 27, 29, which is the value of BC, by the way. Here we have arrived to the end of our session in Unit 1 for the geometry section for Prep 3. I hope that it was an interesting session, but please, before we close, you should solve all these questions again by yourself and solve more problems. I wish you good luck and to meet in another videos.